If you're from Whiteland, it's not just the place 30 minutes south of Indianapolis. We're the little dot on a map in between Greenwood and Franklin.
As Richardson comes across in motion, now this is going to be handed off up the middle to Shawcloud. Shawcloud is bumping this one to the hole. He's to the 10-yard line and Purdy to the corner. And Shawcloud is in. The first points in this one are down low to Purdy. Purdy got nice and make sure against Price on. Purdy goes up and can't be stopped.
And if you're from Whiteland, you most likely have been to a few Friday night football games under the lights, which seems like the entire town, all gathered at James Sleighter Field.
I graduated from Nineveh High School, Franklin College. My master's degree was from Butler University. My first teaching job was 3 years at Mount Auburn High School in Suffolk County. I came to Whiteland in 1955 and became principal in 1959 because I wanted to make more money.
The most important thing I can say to you is that Jim Sleighter was the best boss I ever had. And I've thought about that a lot because I was a boss for many years. And I would often think, okay, what would Jim do in a situation like this? So I learned a great deal from him.
I'd taken a master's program in guidance and counseling at Indiana State, and they needed a guidance counselor at Whiteland, and fortunately Jim Sleighter hired me. Well, it wasn't fortunately. Jim maintains that he was principal there for 31 years and only made one mistake, and that was hiring me.
Well, Dolph Whitaker was a trustee, and he was making several changes in the staff. And he called me over he was a real estate agent, had a little office over there at the corner of Whiteland Road and 31. And I said, oh, here I go. And we talked a while, and he said, would you like to be principal? And, I kind of just dropped my jaws. Well, sure.
The thing that I valued most about him was that he told me the parameters and then let me do my job. And twice in the 10 years that I worked for him, he gave me a piece of advice, and that's all. I choke up at that even now, because that trust was very important to me, and I would never have done anything to betray that trust.
He was a guy that could, when all the students would get together in the gymnasium, he'd walk out there on the gym floor, wouldn't say a word, just look, and all of a sudden it would get quiet. He had that knack to bring all the students together.
During the Sleighter era, a decision was made that would impact Whiteland history forever. A consolidation between Clark Township and Pleasant Township would create to what we know as today as Whiteland Community High School.
One of the situations that I think was really unique is I got to, as a high school sophomore, watch two high schools consolidate.
Prior to '65, we were the Pleasant Township Junior Senior High School. And in '65, at consolidation, it became Whiteland Community High School under Clark Pleasant School Corporation.
And I can remember playing them 3 times the year before. We were fortunate enough that we were very good and they were very good, and we were able to beat them all 3 times. And I can remember the last cheer that the Clark kids use is, if you can't beat them, join them.
The consolidation between Clark Township and Whiteland School was demanded by the state. I told my staff and students to accept Clark staff and students as equals.
I was part of about 3 or 4 building projects. Now, if you ever get into education, everybody should have to go through 1 building project, but nobody should have to go through 2.
Poor old Jim Sleighter. They had everything stacked in the gym, and he had to work around all this. And that, oh my, that poor guy. That's I don't know how many different renovations he went through, but I'm sure it was 3 or 4. But some of them were very major.
You know, Annie asked me about the consolidation, and quite honestly, I don't remember much about it. And after thinking about it for a while, these last few days, I'm thinking it's because Mr. Sleighter handled it so well, that it was such a smooth transition, that it really didn't impact me personally, except that I got more kids in my department, and that helped a lot.
And, you know, even though that we grew, the school was still about the same. It was still based upon kids. We still tried to do what was best for our students, and our education was great still.
We seemed to get along okay. I was very pleased. I was always on my toes, concerned that some things would happen.
About the first part of May, Jim became very anxious and nervous because he was wondering what the graduating class was planning to do at commencement. And he, this was every year, but it was rightfully so though, but he handled it very well.
And I think that was probably the focal point of what made Whiteland Community High School what it is today, is that consolidation, because it went so well. And it went well because of the leadership of, you know, James Sleighter and what we had. And we were really successful. For example, when we consolidated the first time, the boys basketball team won the first 16 games. The next year we won the basketball sectional.
Yeah, I'd be at the scorer's table, and Fred Brinkman would be on the books. We always had one faithful supporter on every bus, and his name is me, Jerry Lassiter. And everybody in Whiteland knows me, Jerry.
One of the big ones was a sectional 1961 when had fans stay all night in the gymnasium. In the afternoon, we didn't have any electricity. We were host of the sectional. So I called L.V. Phillips, who's a commissioner, state commissioner, got a hold of him and wanted to postpone it. He said, "Young man, we've never postponed a sectional, hold it." So we went ahead without any electricity, a scoreboard on a chalkboard, and time on a stopwatch and so on. We went ahead and played the game that afternoon. Well, they come in, the state troopers, and said send everybody home. Well, before we even more than got them out of there, they said, no, keep them here. So we had all of that crowd there that night. Well, I had a bright idea we would send the girls to the auditorium, and the boys put them in classrooms. Well, they were crawling out of windows, so we just decided to bring them all back in the gym together.
I think probably the thing I appreciated most about my tenure there, and I was there for 10 years, was the camaraderie.
As I said, I considered the staff and the students and my family the highlights of my life.
I happened to go to West Point for a while and then graduated from Franklin College and taught at a couple of other places. And even when I was at those other places, I'd always compare them to Whiteland. I thought, gosh, what a great education I received from Whiteland Community High School. I was part of the education program there at Whiteland High School from 1956 all the way till about 2012. For me to be able to get into West Point for myself to be able to see from the other side of the desk what students were like. Whiteland Community High School was really a special place.
I just enjoyed going to school, and I look forward to it each day. And as I say, I'm glad I'm retired. A great part of my success in school, I relate to my first wife, Lois. I've been fortunate to have I married Verna. We've been married 8.5 years now, and she's been very good to me. And I just thank the Lord that He's been good to me in my life.
As time moves on and things change, we can all know that the foundation of Whiteland was laid by good hands. To James Sleighter, we say thank you, and we continue to progress as his legacy lives on.